Hey folks, this is Ben Yussel. How's it going? So I decided not to go out tonight. So just, I think I had my exercise or whatever. I had got a little bit of walk in. It's just getting kind of late and I'm getting a little tired. A little bit. So I'm gonna make one more video tonight before I go to, hit the hay. But I had a few other ideas, a few other thoughts. Um, so a friend of mine likes video games and he's played them quite a bit. But the type of video games that this guy likes to play, and everybody I've known is always a little different. But so this friend of mine likes to play very intense games. He likes very intense movies, and he doesn't have the greatest attention span. That's just the way he is. But he has a good heart, and he likes a lot of things I like, and we get along. But we're still rather different, and he's probably a little bit less mature than me. Well, I know he is, but it's not that he's immature. It's just that he's, well, younger and he's, yeah, less mature. But that being the case, he's a huge fan of these Elder Scrolls games. Now, I guess I described the kind of games that this friend of mine likes. You'll see where I'm going here at this, and I've mentioned probably similar things many times before. Well, I always say things in a different way. So, zombie apocalypse. Well, yeah. Sorry, let me rephrase that. First-person shooter games involving clowns, zombies, military type games, all that stuff. Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Skyrim. And then probably on some level the Dragon Age games, but and then others that are like that, but emphasis on military games. I'm not sure about Fallout. And movies, a lot of the recent stuff, yeah. Um, the cheap uh, uh, jump scares and shocking kinds of moments. That's what, and also things like, yeah, medieval European war, knights and Vikings and stuff. Yes. I'm not just saying that's the only stuff that he watches. I'm just saying that he has no patience for a lot of other things in media, video games and movies and stuff. And we're looking more at video games and movies here. But with time, he's maybe seeing other things. Who knows? And I've never tried to change anybody's mind about what they like. I mean, I suppose on some level I have influenced some people, I think. It's just a question of how influenced or apt to be influenced someone is. Depends on what they like. See, there's so many things that I enjoy. So many things that I would enjoy if I could play them, or if I could, so many people, so many things, so many places, so many. There's all this an infinite amount of things that I would really truly enjoy that I haven't experienced yet. And same thing with you guys watching this. No matter how old you are, no matter how much you enjoy movies or video games, and I agree, movies are kind of. I'm sorry about the camera here, folks, but movies are my parents' generation. I'm the video game generation, and then the generation after me is the. Yeah, everything has to be amazing looking on video games. We'll just say that the texting generation and all that stuff. But yeah, the games suck, but the graphics are good, really, really good. I'm the generation of the games were amazing, but the graphics, no. But they still worked for me. I still like, there's a lot of imagination that comes about when you can kind of picture things, the way you want to picture them with Atari games and stuff. I think my parents were the TV generation, and then my grandparents were the radio generation almost, more or less. And their parents were, anyway, so on and so forth, books. So, yeah, obviously you can tell where I'm going with this. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with this phone. Just like a really good story or a really good movie. I'll say it again. Just like a really good story or a really good movie, a really good video game, if it's a fantasy adventure, if it is adventure, if it's a story, should have elements to that story or to other quests that are story, they have a plot, right? Or it should be something that would normally grip me if I wanted to read something. It should be the kind of book you see or you've heard of that's just like, oh man, I've got to read that. And you read it. Same thing with a movie. Oh, I've got to see that. Oh, that looks so good. A video game should be the same way. Regarding not just all the pretty artwork they do. And believe me, I could actually use some more pretty artwork for a lot of video games these days. A lot of games are, it's just that, well, I don't know. Okay. I don't know why these video game companies don't seem to value good stories. Why? Why don't gamers value good stories anymore? What's the problem with that? Is there any point to playing a game that doesn't have a story? You have a goal. Now there is a point, and it can be very enjoyable. But there's no point. What's the point in playing something long term? Right? If it's really enjoyable what you're doing, sure. But there's a reason I didn't go into the military. I have a military side to me, I suppose. But I'm not really cut out for the military. I don't enjoy pain enough, maybe, or I don't enjoy fighting enough, or I don't enjoy whatever, all that military stuff. So if I enjoyed it more, maybe I'd be more inclined to play a military video game more. If I enjoyed loud noises more, I would play more video games involving loud noises, but I don't. I like quieter video games. That's how I've always been. I like things that are imaginative and mysterious and all that kind of stuff. So how many video games do we have out these days? There's always the ones from previous eras. But how many video games really are as good as artistically, the Lord of the Rings, or the Chronicles of Narnia, or the Belgariad by David Eddings, or Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series? How many of them are worthy of that level of artistry? There's a small number, but it's kind of debatable what they are. And I kind of see most video games are like McDonald's Big Mac and fries. Get your quick fix of whatever, and they're not the same at all. I mean, look, folks. I mean, when I was a teenager and young adult, my parents scrutinized so much of what I did. Not as much as some parents, but they were not gonna they were not gonna go for me playing Doom. I don't know if you guys remember Doom. It's the 90s. Kind of a first person shooter, and I played it. I didn't really play it. I like to watch my friends play it at their house. Or one of my friends played Doom a fair bit. And another one of my friends, my brother's age, they had Wolfenstein. Actually, both. This is my friend Terrell, and also my friends are more closer to my brother's age, the Hochstrassers, Jason and Ryan Hochstrasser. Okay, so I played Doom a little bit. I played Wolfenstein. or Wolfenstein, and I played another kind of Third Reich type game. Back then, I can't remember what it was called, and then there's some other stuff. I'm not thinking of it. But that was at my friends' houses. It wasn't at my house. In our house, we didn't even have a Nintendo. We didn't have a Sega. We didn't have any of that stuff. No video game systems. They weren't allowed. My parents didn't allow them. So what we did, we tried to do other things. And believe you me, we did many other things that were really awesome and good use of time, and it helped me in so many areas, and fun, awesome, great, but just no video game systems. That's the way I grew up. And so computer games, okay, but my parents started to get really critiquey of them, of how much time I was spending on some of them. I don't know if a lot of people realize that, it's like how we grow up is a big part of how we are. I'm not saying this is a negative thing. I'm just saying I was taught that video games were kind of like recreational. They were like cotton candy. That's how my parents kind of viewed them, like cotton candy and soda, not like real food. And books were like real food. Movies were kind of a little bit junk foody, but also could be substantial. Music was real food. At least the music that I was composing and involved with was especially that way. I think my parents had a lot of tolerance for rock music, by the way, because, well, not rougher rock, but like my dad liked oldies rock and Beach Boys and stuff. And when I say oldies, I don't mean progressive rock. I mean, well, Eagles are fine, but more tasteful stuff. And so my brothers liked alternative rock when I was younger, and they got into jazz and indie rock and ska and a little bit and other stuff like that. And that was all okay with my family because I think but nobody ever was listening to really, we'll just say, darker rock, whatever. But yeah, I have two brothers that play percussion. I myself am a hornist and pianist, and my brother played cello a little bit, and sister we all play piano, sing and stuff. So, but yeah. So here's my buddy who likes to play all this loud stuff. It's really intense, and like I've always known this about him, but I just told him, like, you know what? No, it has to have a really high quality story, man. Baldur's Gate was based on a story that was already written. It was in Dungeons and Dragons. It was a Dungeons and Dragons novel. That was already novel. So there's a reason why there's a good story in that game, because it came from a novel. There are good games that video gamers make that aren't always involving storylines, and there are some that do involve storylines that are good. But video game, I'm talking about the guys that are in control of the creative guys, the guys that have creative. What are we gonna do, right? Those guys are so freaking conceited, in my opinion. They're so conceited right now. They have been. Well, the big companies, the smaller independent companies, and in the past, the companies where they're different. They cared about making really good games that had good stories. And if it wasn't a story-based game, then it had really good puzzles, or had really good whatever. Whatever did it shown really strongly. And now, and so this buddy of mine who's younger is kind of a victim, in my opinion, of the dumbing down, right? The dumbing down generation, where all the media is dumbed down. And a lot of it is, but some of it's not. And I know the things that are not. And you guys have seen my videos before where I go into this is a repeating theme, right? I don't know if, I imagine at some point you guys get sick and tired of this subject. I don't know. It's just so apparent to me. But, that's why I keep talking about stuff. I'm going to keep encouraging him to pursue things in the arts and media and whatever else that are more substantial, more meaningful. Because, if you have a diet of cotton candy all the time, even including involving the media, well, your head's gonna be full of pink fluff, you know? Like, what do you have to show for your time doing whatever it is you did? It was fun, but how much farther in life are you? Because if I spent all my time, like especially right now in quarantine, if I spent all my time doing really mindless, stupid things, or even funner games that were just lacking in real substance. And unfortunately, Elder Scrolls games can be that way. Oh, for shame. And I love the Vikings too. I've heard such great things about Skyrim. But let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. I mean, let's just pick even a cheesy movie that's fantasy. Let's pick The Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal is kind of not quite like, oh, I don't know. Let's just say Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Something really big and one of the bigger fantasies, but the Chronicles of Narnia series. Where's it going with this? Sorry. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is all these games keep getting such high reviews. What do they really involve? What story do they tell? If the story isn't something that you want to read, or if you're not invested in the characters, why play the game? Oh, because it's fun to play, the fighting, and exploring, right? Exploring, absolutely. Gamers keep, video game creators keep hearing this stuff that people want. But the one thing they keep forgetting about is the same things that story writers know about fiction writers. Not just Stephen King, but everybody. It does involve the senses. All 5 senses. It involves taste, touch, sight, sound, smell, emotion, connections with the world, with colors and sounds, and smells and personalities. And, if you smell roses and you hear a lovely voice, soprano voice singing, oh man, maybe you want to meet that girl, right? It's a beautiful woman, right? I don't know. If you smell in a story you're reading, if you start smelling something that's reminds you of a swamp, and it's like, here's some slithering or some steps or something. You got a gator or a big gigantic snake coming your way or something. I don't know. It's probably a good idea to watch out, But when you read a book with descriptions and with a good story, it draws you in. You're drawn in because of how, a lot of stories that are good invite you into the world. They invite you in. They present things to you, themes that you care about on some level. Some themes you'll care about more than others, but you'll be invested in the story. When you're invested in a story, when you're invested in a story you're reading, then you'll want to finish it. It'll be a pleasure to finish it. It won't be a chore. And that's how movies used to be a lot of times. A lot of these days movies are lacking in substance, and some of them shockingly so. Shockingly so. And then video games, same deal. They used to have so much substance, like, the text adventure games. Even those, they're very simple, and yet they had more to them than these huge drawn out games that have nothing to them. Nothing. I remember Dragon Age Origins, by the way. It was a good game. And in case you haven't played it yet, yeah, sure. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not the greatest fantasy adventure game, but the whole deal is the game. The whole gist of it is, well, you get some big bad boys coming. They are coming, right? There's some kind of big bad boys that are coming. They're on the way. So you've got to get you gotta go around the kingdom, Denerim. Denerim's the main city, but you gotta. I can't remember the king. Anyway, so you gotta talk to the elves. You gotta talk to the dwarves. You gotta talk to some other human groups. Get them to fight for you and fight against this oncoming horde. It might seem like it's not a very original idea, but they treated it pretty well, I think. I was pretty impressed with it. And yeah. And it was fairly non-linear. Not super non-linear, but again with the Elder Scrolls games, when you start realizing after the 100th cave you've been in that it's kind of the same deal, even if it's laid out a little bit differently geographically, is if the rocks are all the same color, right? And if the goblins are all acting the same. And if you have the same deal with treasure chests here and there and a little bit of mushrooms here and there, who gives a rip? What's the 101th cave going to be like? What? That's the problem with Elder Scrolls. I hope they fixed it with Skyrim. I don't know. Can you encourage me to play Skyrim? I just... Why? Why? What is it going to... what... When you read a good fantasy adventure, it helps you in your life. Because even though it's fantasy, it's make-believe. It's all the themes, it's all the characters, it's all... Everybody you got to know. It forms a part of your psyche. Even though the characters aren't real. When you were reading the book, when you're talking about being invested in a book, they became real to you. And so when they became real to you, it was reality. But you're sitting somewhere reading it. Your mind is there. Can a video game do that? In the same way that a book can? It can. So why wouldn't it? Why would somebody get these video game companies that think they're doing so good? Why would they skip out on the most important thing you could do in an adventure game, which is the story? The quality of the story, the themes. Would we want to rescue a princess if the princess was already married? Maybe. But that's a lot less desire for us to rescue the princess, right? Right? I mean, what if you're playing something like stupid like Super Mario Brothers? Not stupid, but just playing a rinky-dink game like Super Mario Brothers. Found out that Peach was like, oh, thank you for rescuing me now. Now I'm going to go to my real boyfriend. And you're like, I just went through heck for you. Granted, it was fun. I went through all this stuff, and you're not going to be my girlfriend or princess in the game? I mean, granted, the game ends right there, so you can't really, but... So, there's the goal of rescuing Peach, but really the fun of the game is all the, how far can you get? And it really was, those are old arcade games, those old Mario games. I remember playing it for people's... Really, the gist of it was a lot more of a hand-eye coordination thing, and it's a completely different kind of game than a fantasy adventure game. But, there's no point to it. I mean, the point of some of these games, if they're not stories, then they're what? They're the gameplay itself. But the older you get, the older I get, the more I'm just like, why? What's the point? And rightly so, I rightly so should ask that question. My time is becoming more valuable. There are things that I ought to be doing more in life. All 40-something-year-olds should be like this. Even those that are whatever, not just whatever. Yeah, I don't have very much tolerance for things that are just of not much substance or worth. Skyrim has Vikings. Really? Do the creators of Skyrim... And, I don't know. I want to like it. I want there to be a video game I'll sink my teeth into. By the way, I haven't really played that vampire game for a bit. In case you're wondering about that vampire game I've commented on. I might get back into it. Maybe. I have, but it's just... Man, you don't even have to have a wondering. You don't even have to have it smog. Oh, dragons, how scary. I don't know. Do it right, maybe. I just, I mean, like, and it's like, whenever it comes to, we're talking about things like Vikings. Why do people like Vikings? Because they're big and blonde and they're got their swords and they got their axes and they just go me smash like tanks in fantasy. I mean, are people? A lot of people just how juvenile are some 20 somethings now, 30 somethings because the media being so dumbed down. I mean, in regarding their tastes in media. No, Vikings are a lot more sophisticated than just being tanks saying me smash. A lot more sophisticated. A heck of a lot more. Norwegians, Swedes, and Danes would be offended if all they were made out to be were just these go raid villages. But if someone is convinced that that is Viking culture from playing Elder Scrolls or Skyrim, I don't know. It's like thinking Japanese are all really good at karate or something because of just watching Karate Kid and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's kind of a similar deal there. But the Vikings were, anyway. I like the Viking stuff. It's just my thing is my central trains of thought regarding medieval European fantasy, medieval whatever fantasy or fantasy period, any culture. It's it's a lot more kind of like it's all about not only good and evil, but it's about all the things that are going on that aren't seen because it's all the supernatural and fantasy are connected there, and it's all the mysterious creatures that these people believe exist, and and that stuff. It's a lot of things like that. It's the music, it's the clothing, it's the architecture, it's the feel of different places, it's the stories they have to tell. This is culture. This is what I want to experience when I even play a video game. Oh, The Witcher. The Witcher has some not so great content in it too. I really just these mature, ready to mature. Oh boy, that means it's just gonna have a lot of nasty stuff in it. Anyway, yeah. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.